if I can get some viewers going on real quick so we can start talking.
No, it's a beautiful day out for it.
Yeah.
I was going to say there's a reason we pay so much to live in San Diego. And I'm like, wait, we're in San Diego. But it's very similar weather.
It's only just a barrier that is just the difference between you and me.
It's that evil wall.
Yeah. How's everybody doing? Good evening to everybody. This is a really good day. Share this information so we can start. It's a really interesting day. This young lady came over here from San Diego. We made contact as yesterday, and I believe that is I believe that is really important. As you guys know, how Oscar Blue and Border Negro News stands against child trafficking and against human smuggling in these caravans. Her name is Athena Ives. She is with the Veterans for Child Rescue. This is awesome. You guys know how I'm so emphatic with veterans of the United States and how much I respect, veterans from the United States. So this is Veterans for Rescue. She came over here. We just did a little interview, really interesting interview. Actually, Athena has been traveling, how many countries you have been?
About 39.
39 countries around the world. She has seen a lot of child trafficking and a lot of child smuggling around the world. It's really, it's mind-blowing when you're talking to her and you're listening to how it is so in their culture to see this sex trafficking and child trafficking. Before we get to that, I want you guys to just see this. Go and visit Veterans for Rescue, Child Rescue. Athena, can you talk to us about a little bit of Veterans for Child Rescue?
Yes, I haven't been with them very long. They were an organization that was brought to my attention that met everything that I stand for. Patriotism, veterans, and especially protection of our children, and actually getting the information out there, correct, raw, real information to the people that is not being shared by the media, that is being politically twisted by the different parties to fit their agendas, not really necessarily telling the truth. And Veterans for Child Rescue is run by the owner, Craig Sawyer. He is a retired Navy SEAL, and his heart is absolutely 100% for protecting children, and he is absolutely horrified by the trafficking and the horrible things that are being done to the children. And in the US, a lot of people think that it's just third world problems. It is horrible in the United States, and it seems to be the more money individuals have, the more money countries have, there are going to be higher rates, just as in the tourist attraction areas. The highest tourist areas are going to contain the highest amount of human sex trafficking and human trafficking. We are dedicated to helping children, to expose child predators, to really a lot of what we want to do this year is to shine even more of a light on the foster care system and CPS and the organizations that are falling under this umbrella of help, when in actuality they're capitalizing on the immigration laws, on the loopholes in government systems, and finding a way to work around it and use it for financial profit. And unlike, it's the second largest criminal enterprise in the world, human trafficking is. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry annually, second only to drugs. But the thing is with drugs, the individuals that are taking the drugs are the ones being hurt. In this situation, it's the people being trafficked that are being hurt. You can use heroin, you can use a drug once, you can use a child hundreds of times. You know, I've been reading a lot of survivor stories, and you know, this last one I read, she was just trafficked for 3 nights. 60 men.
Wow.
In 3 nights.
Wow.
A 12-year-old.
Wow.
And not only that,
Horrible.
but that's not. There's not just sex trafficking. It's all sorts of different types. And one of the most horrifying to me is the organ trafficking. And I, you know, years ago, I did a paper. A lot of the, unfortunately, you know, these evil people have no value of human life. And I read numerous situations where they were finding children at the border from U.S. citizens, grabbing that child when the parents were shopping and not looking, or in the bar taking the shots of alcohol and, you know, not paying attention to their kid. And the next thing they know, they turn around and their kid's gone. Well, that kid was transported to a location, cut open, had drugs stuffed inside, had the organs taken out, the organs sold, and then smuggled across.
Amazing. You know, you were talking to me about, we were having as we were having breakfast, you were telling me about Thailand.
Yes.
When you went to Thailand, how amazing is all of the things that you were talking to me about Thailand. And Thailand, it is just normal. They are trained. You were telling me they are trained since they are kids to wear heels, to wear all this stuff. And all of that idea, it's coming towards every country now. And it's kind of like they're trying to rub it off on the United States, like making it look like it's okay.
Yep.
You know, it's all right to get a 12-year-old to wear heels and makeup and all this stuff. How was that experience in Thailand? Can you talk to us about a little bit about what you've seen in Thailand?
So originally, I was studying how I have been fascinated with how resilience impacts survival and trauma survivors and different things like that, and your recovery, and also your environment. So part of your environment is your culture. It's where you live. It's your religion. It's your values, what you're brought up with. You know, every country is going to have different values, different moral standards, different ways of life, and different views of life and how we see certain things. You know, for example, Europe is known for being a lot more open-minded with sex and with that kind of stuff. And then there's other countries that it's like so taboo. No one talks about it. You know, especially a lot of the Muslim countries, that it is, you don't talk about it. It's not accepted, but it's still very, there's a lot of trafficking. There's a lot of really horrible things that happen over there. So my studies brought me, I'm working on my doctorate to get in forensic psychology, and my dissertation topic I chose was going to be how Thai culture influences resiliency in sexual trafficking survivors. So I went over there, and everything that I had found online, all of the information I heard, everything on the news was saying how horrible Thailand was, how many traffic victims there are, all these horrible things. So I was planning on going to their treatment centers where these women were, you know, trying to get counseling and therapy and help and, you know, refuge. And I didn't find any. And here's why. Well, I didn't find any. I know there are organizations out there that might still be doing this, but what I found was that because it is so much part of their economy, Thailand is, I believe, top 10 in the world for tourism destinations. This was, the information I have is a little bit outdated. It is back in about 2014, 10 to 2014. That's where the statistics that I remember, and don't quote me on this, but they're very high. Around 80% of Thailand's tourism is for sex, and a high amount of that is specifically for the underage children, and also for women that look underage. So a lot of the Asian women are very beautiful. They have extremely young features. I had very good friends over there that, you know, were older than me, and they looked like they're 15 years younger. Just gorgeous women, and a lot of the men are attracted to that, and they also are attracted to the more not submissive, but they have a different culture and different cultural views of how women should be, which is a lot different than you know, women in American Western cultures. They are a lot more about equality and being equal in the work system. And you know, with that being said, that it's a way of life there. And it goes so deep. It involves their culture. It involves their religious beliefs that they, and this is not for all Thai people. This is just what I found. It has a lot to do with their religious beliefs in reincarnation. And they do believe that it is saving up for their next life. That they are sacrificing their virginity to save other women from being raped, and from, you know, to save those pure women that are waiting until marriage in hopes that in their next life they can be the wife and the respected one instead of the sex worker. And I actually talked to a number of sex trafficking workers. They didn't consider themselves victims. They chose the industry, and they began at, you know, 12, 13, 14 years old, because it was their job to support the entire family. And they, you know, they were like, why should we work an entire month in a factory, you know, when we could make what we do in a night?
Amazing. Now, one of the things that is put right here on this little pamphlet, I think it's called pamphlet, right? It says, child trafficking is a worldwide epidemic with estimated 10 million children exploited yearly, and generates approximately, and look at this, people, 38 billion annually. That's amazing.
Yep.
And it says right here also that 44% of child trafficking cases start at home.
Yes.
And your studies, how is this right here affects, and how this is growing in the United States of America? And how is it growing? Is it growing? Is it much bigger in terms of child trafficking cases at home?
Absolutely.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's increasing.
Yeah. So a lot of these statistics that you find, in actuality, they are so much higher. And here's why. Because in these cases, they are so underreported. Any type of like sex crime, any trafficking crime, they are going to be severely underreported. And the reason is, they often are misunderstood as being a prostitute or someone that chose to be in the sex industry. Or you have the individuals out there that have no idea that they are a victim when they really are. You have those women that I just read an article on a child whose father pimped her out to traffickers, who then in exchange it was for porn. And her father would drop her off, and she would go and earn the money for the family.
Wow.
And she was underage. And a lot of times what's happening is the porn industry is, you know, they all work together, and there's often children on set.
Wow, that is unbelievable.
And then with that as well, you know, you have those individuals that, you know, I have read so many different foster care system. It's around 60 to 80% of child traffic victims are from the foster care system.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So what they're doing is it's a prime location. A lot of times they're severely abused in these foster homes. They run away, and they end up in the hands of child traffickers. So there's a reason they aren't necessarily good reasons that they were taken from a home, but there was a reason behind why that child was taken from their home in the first place, whether it was a death of a family member or abuse, and they were put under the care of the state. So then they get to another family that abuses them and they run away. And then all of a sudden, these very intelligent traffickers will find them. They will groom them. They will buy them gifts. They will give them love. They will give them a family they never had before. And the next thing you know, it's, well, oh, rent's due. My friend's coming over and you're going to have to sleep with him. And then it turns into that's their job.
Oh my
and
God.
they are so brainwashed and manipulated by these incredibly intelligent individuals that they don't even see themselves as victims. They see themselves as, well, hey, nothing is free. Absolutely nothing is free. So I have to make rent. So they understand it. And at least in that situation, at least that person is buying them something, where their foster care and their family may have raped and abused them and gave them nothing. So at least now they have possessions. They have a roof over their head. What are they supposed to do? Run away and go talk to the police? Well, guess what? The police were probably the ones that took them from the homes in the begin with. They don't trust them. Are they supposed to run away and go back to that foster care family that beat them and, sexually assaulted them? These children are so lost. And the other thing that we're fighting in America is when these children go missing, there are thousands of cases where these kids go missing from the foster homes and no one's looking for them. You think their foster care parents care about them and are looking for them? No. The state's not looking for them. No one is looking for them. So we have thousands and thousands of kids that are being brutally, they're just being ripped apart. And they have nowhere to go. And it's absolutely heartbreaking.
Now, I want to give your opinion, because I have my own opinion on what is the term of separation of families, and all these people that they're saying is because of I want to get into politics, but it's because of all the administration of Trump. It is because of Trump on the separation of families. And Trump is his fault. It is because of separation of families. When we, both of us, know that the separation of families and all that cases started happening back in the administration of Obama.
Yes.
And this was created in 2015, I believe so.
Yep.
Can you just educate me more about that?
Now, this is not coming from direct experience. This is coming from the tons and tons of different documentaries and research that I have done, and a direct friend that worked and actually was the one that exposed what was happening. What he found, he worked at the border, he had a very high position of authority, and he knew exactly, he found out what was going on by reading actual government documents and reading that the unaccompanied children of the border were being handed over to sex offenders.
Wow.
Registered sex offenders. And they were not registered sex offenders. They were handing them over.
Wow.
There are also cases throughout the United States where foster care children were put into registered sex offenders' homes. So that whistle was blown, and it was covered up several times under the Obama administration. And the 2018 photos, from what I have been told and the research that I have done has told from very reliable sources, those children were actually in those cages in 2015. And the reason they were in those cages was because when the whistle was blown and it got up to the levels that it needed to, they realized that they needed to figure out a better system in order to properly screen the sponsors that were taking the children into the United States and providing asylum, instead of handing them over to sex traffickers and sex offenders. So they had them in the cages while they were trying to figure out where to put them. Would you rather have gave them to the sex offenders? That was the only other option at that time. So they were scrambling and trying to figure out where to put these children. They were not being ripped apart from their families. They were being ripped apart from traffickers. They were being ripped apart from people that were being smuggled into the United States, not their family members. Yes, there might have been one or two children that happened to, and that is absolutely horrible. But would you rather have those hundreds of children handed over to sex traffickers to be raped and, put to work for the rest of their life? Or would you rather have two or three kids separated from their family? And that's horrible. What's the greater of two evils,
Yeah, there's one thing that I want to tell you. Like, I was talking about Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib when she came over here. And she was at the wall, and oh my God, and the separation of families, and this is the worst. And I asked her just a really particular question. What does she think about the massive child trafficking that is occurring in the caravan? And she denied it. Why do you think a lot of politicians and a lot of these people deny the child trafficking, deny the pedophilia, and denied all the things that has been happening, but they only focus on creating an idea for society that is the separation of families? Do you think that is because it is a business? That is, I believe so, that is because of that, or do you think that it's just because they're hiding their own agenda?
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, second to drugs. I cannot say exactly because I'm not in their heart and in their head, but it's the same thing. The only way I can comprehend it is that there are some people out there that they can't even comprehend the kind of evil that is going on, and they don't want to. They don't want to because then they have to deal with it. They don't want to because then that party that they are more than likely supporting is actually running this and is actually profiting from it. So I don't know specifically, but money can give you anything. It can give you virginity. It can give you pedophile heaven. It can give you the ability to get away with murder. It can give you anything. Now,
Veterans for Child Rescue. I love the fact that they're veterans. I love the fact that this is this is an organization that has been going on for a little while now. What is the next mission for Veterans for Child Rescue? I know that this man has a lot of plans, and you guys have a lot of plans. What is the next mission for Veterans for Child Rescue?
From what I understand, Craig has been working tirelessly on the documentary that is going to be very important for people to really grasp the massive impact that this has in the United States. As far as the next mission and different things like that, we are doing our absolute best to really vet the people that are going to be working with us. And the reason why is, like we discussed earlier, there is so much corruption going on in nonprofits. There are scams out there that are being run by nonprofit organizations that are capitalizing on good people and their hearts, and using that to hide. As many of us know, the evil hides in plain sight. A lot of the experts say that the average child predator is a churchgoer. They are not saying the church is evil, not at all. There is so much benefit from faith, and there are some amazing people out there that are faith-based and Christian-based.
But a lot of the pedophilia, it has to do with a lot with the Vatican. The Vatican is, my God, man. Not even to talk about it, and to be honest and transparent and to be direct, the Vatican is, oh my God, it's amazing how people don't see through the lines of what the Vatican and the priests are doing in the Vatican. And it's amazing how real Catholics or real Christians, they don't see that there's a huge problem in the Vatican. And there's a hidden agenda everybody knows now, but they still believe that they need to be forgiven. They made a mistake. They can keep doing their service, but they aren't going to stop doing that. It's amazing that they still think that.
Yeah. So it's exposing the truth. There are good, they hide in they choose positions that are going to expose them to children, put them around children, but also give them that that personification of goodness, you know, somebody you can trust, like a police officer or a doctor or a child care worker, a coach, a teacher. They often find positions that will make them look good and are trusting positions where that individual, that child, they feel that they can trust them, and then another aspect of the church, what they use, you know, in the absolute worst possible way, is they use that as a reason they can get away with anything. Oh, you know, I'm a man of God, and this is God's work, and they
actually think like that. Really, it's amazing. It's amazing. Now, Athena, I want to thank you so much for coming over here. And we need to start working more together on
absolutely.
this. You know, veterans.
It affects both of our countries.
Yes, and people don't know then how this has to do a lot with the power of politics. This has to do a lot with the power of countries, and that this has to do a lot with the power of money, because money is, you know, they can buy, as you were saying, they can buy anything they want. And one of the things that, you know, all these sick people is, you know, sex traffic, child traffic, and all this stuff. Veterans for Rescue, I love the fact that they're veterans. I want to I don't know why am I being shadow banned right now. There's a few people. I always get like 200, 300 people. But I want to thank, you know, for your service that you did for the United States of America. Although it's not my country, I respect a lot the veterans. I have a cousin that he's a veteran. He was in the National Guard. I believe that, you know, you guys give your life for the country, not for a political party.
Yep, exactly.
You guys did a service for the country, not for a political party. So that is awesome of you. This is awesome. People follow their page. I'm gonna give the last details of Athena, and also child veterans for child rescue, for her to give you guys information. So where can they find them? How can they research them? And how can they follow you also?
So I have my author page, and I haven't shared my affiliation with Veterans for Child Rescue. As many of you know out there, a lot of times they target different organizations, especially that are involved with child trafficking. So in order to be, you know, safe and precautious about that, I have left that affiliation with the organization off of my personal pages. I'm also a published author. I do a lot of trauma advocacy and speaking and empowering other people that have been through trauma and are looking to make their lives better. I'm not a victim. I actually am a survivor of sexual assault, and I do have a lot of very similar experiences to what trafficked victims go through. I was, you know, drugged and raped several times. Have been through a lot in my life, but that has led me here and has made me more passionate than ever to help protect these children, their innocence, and to bring this evil to light. My Facebook page is Athena Ives author, Ives, Ives, and my Instagram is Dr. Athena Ives. I am getting my doctorate. I'm not a doctor yet, but I put the doctor on there to push myself and, you know, be like, I will be, to let everyone know. The Veterans for Child Rescue does have a social media pages, so we do have Facebook and Instagram, and you guys can contact me directly through my Facebook for any questions, or you can contact the organization, and it's vetsforchildrenrescue.org. So that was on the brochure. If you guys would like to look that up for any other information.
Well, thank you so much, Athena. You know, and hopefully we will do more videos together as, you know, as time goes on. God bless everybody that has been watching. Thank you for sharing. Although we did, you know, we did okay. But God bless you all. Stay safe, and like I say, peace and love, everybody, because always your country's first.